Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today I'm not going to be examining the Lego Ecto 1 model close up, feature by feature, as I thought I would be this week. That'll have to come next week or certainly soon, because actually in the past few days I have been making something that I simply have to share with you, and that is this. If you've been following the progress of this creation on the Discord server, you'll know what this is, and that is a Legend of Zelda inspired compass. Now, first and foremost, I should apologise actually, I'm not wearing my Link hat, the crocheted hat that my amazing wife made for me. I just can't find it. I don't know where we've put it. Maybe I lost it a couple of winters ago or something. It's been a long couple of years, and maybe I wore it out and left it in a cafe. I don't know. We'll try and find it. But in the meantime, I am wearing my Legend of Zombie t-shirt where Link is eating hearts, because how else, if he's not a zombie, how else does eating hearts replenish your life, eh? Wake up, sheeple. Wake up. Anyway, I didn't know I wanted to make this until it occurred to me. For a while now, actually, my amazing wife has been saying that I should just make something. I should experiment with foam crafting. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I couldn't quite think of the thing I wanted to make. I was thinking about weapons and, you know, totems and books and other artifacts from computer games and anime and cartoons and all sorts of places that I might want to attempt. And then this popped into my head. I wanted to make a compass that not only was visually pleasing and looked like a compass from, for example, Legend of Zelda, but actually also that pointed north. So the red triangle actually does in fact point north. It follows magnetic north. And it then struck me that this was the thing to make, because I first came across this compass in my favourite and first Zelda game, that is Link's Awakening on Game Boy. I was first introduced to it as an image in the instruction manual, a sort of red and black scale print where various items were laid out in a grid explaining what they were, but also there was a thumbnail image of Link exploring a dungeon with a map and compass in hand that I remembered, oddly enough, clearly because I'd looked at this image and pored over this manual so many times as a kid. I remembered it in the same sort of colour scale and format that it appeared much later in the Legend of Zelda Art and Artifacts book. A full A4, well, larger than A4, glossy colour print painting of Link walking through a dungeon. But there's something very pleasing about this sort of style of compass. It's cartoony, it's simple, you know that the red triangle is meant to point north, and it's a visual style that appears in the first Zelda game, although it has a green housing in that game, I seem to recall, and then all the way through, really until Twilight Princess, when we start to get compasses that are sort of golden in their housing. And then of course with the 3DS version of Hyrule Warriors, there's the character Linkle. She's a fan of Link, she wants to emulate Link, and she has a compass around her neck that she wears as a necklace, and this was released with the 3DS version of the game as a clock. Oddly enough, it's a working clock. If you sort of pop off the back, there's a battery and a clock mechanism in there. They didn't make it a compass, they made it a clock. And that, I got hold of it because I clearly have always been interested in the compasses in these games, but I was always disappointed that this was a clock, not a compass. And so these things came crashing together a few days ago, and I decided I'm going to make a compass. And the first question was how. I consulted with my father-in-law, my physics teacher, with other friends who know about physics, and the idea of actually magnetizing steel and making it so that it's reliably balanced in a compass housing was a lot of work, and might have actually involved purchasing a very powerful electromagnet. So that was a bit of a no-no. So I went and researched and found a compass housing that's designed for primary schools. It has a 10-centimetre diameter, so it's a pleasing size to be able to put on a table and demonstrate to a class what's happening when the compass points north and the cardinal points arrange and the various degrees coming off the compass in relation to a map can be seen by more than one person at a time. So it's a great demonstration piece, but also in terms of scale, it's perfect for that sort of sense of an elf boy hero on an adventure, having this in their pocket. The first thing I did was I took the tin disc and trimmed it down to this rhombus shape, the red and white diamond there. That then I put a red piece of foam and a white piece of foam on, and I had to remagnetize actually the north facing pin underneath the disc. There are two presumably ferrous metal pins. In the post, I think this must have been knocked about or subject to scanning or gone through a machine or something which had demagnetized the compass somewhat. So I had to sort of remagnetize it by gently rubbing a strong magnet on the north pin while facing north. But nonetheless, I got it working again. And immediately it took on a whole new character, this very pleasing red and white compass design. Of course, though, I wanted to clad the whole thing in foam, and to do that I got some craft foam from Hobbycraft, actually just around the corner, same place where I got the red and the white foam, 5mm thickness, and clad the whole thing starting with the base of the compass along the top edge, the flat edge, and then carefully folding and trimming with a craft knife, with I suppose an X-Acto blade, a scalpel type knife, this sort of radiating tab pattern on the bottom, and also a circle of foam there as well, and it came together quite nicely. I had to do a couple of rings of foam around the edge, and then a flat disc, I don't know, a flat sort of donut shape of foam on top here to finish off the look of the piece, because initially the lid was just plastic with some plastic bumps on there, and that wasn't particularly pleasing. But it very quickly had this really pleasing hand feel to it. Actually, my lovely wife commented on how it was really, it still is really pleasant to hold. I had to replace the nylon rope that came with it with some blue leather, of course. And then I suppose the last couple of things I did was I put on a drawing pin head in the center there, because all of the reference images have the compass mounted with a gold pin on top, so the drawing pin head is perfect for that. And then I painted the thing. I painted it a sort of a rich blue and then a lighter blue highlight. I gave it a brown wash to sort of dirty it up a little bit, and then re-highlighted a dry brush with a light blue around on the edges. And here we have it, a Legend of Zelda, initially Link's Awakening inspired, but it fits various Zelda games' compass. And I couldn't be more pleased with it. I'm so pleased with this first foray into, well, it's not technically my first foray into foam crafting, actually. This is my first R&D process I've gone through with foam crafting, but actually my first foam crafting project is just up here, if I can just grab it. Oh no, I'm dropping things. It's actually this gold crown. I made this a while ago, but you can see on the inside of the crown I didn't sand the textured part of the mat. These are the sort of work mats for a garage. I didn't sand that flat, but it's, you know, it works quite nicely as a crown, I think. That was my first foam crafting project a couple of years ago now, but as a planned project, going from an idea, wondering if I can make a foam compass that will actually point north, taking this all the way through to making it happen, sourcing the right compass, making the foam decisions, and actually also making a template as well. So the first version of this was done by hand and eye, that's this version, but then I decided to, with the second compass, make a pattern, as you would if you were making clothes, for example. A pattern 1.0, which didn't quite work on the second one. It was a bit too tight, the tolerances, so 2.0 was done in cardboard, and for the second compass, that pattern was used to cut out the foam, and it works absolute beaut. I'm really happy with this, and hopefully you can understand why I'm so pleased with a cartoony foam compass that It's sort of cosplay-y, LARP-y, anime-y, cartoony fun. And there's a couple of people who have commented, actually, it feels like something and looks like something in your hand that someone's drawn that you're able to hold. And that's perfect. I absolutely love it. And so there you have it. This is what I've been up to for the past few days. I'm so pleased with the outcome, and I actually ended up making 4 of these. Obviously one I'm going to keep for myself, probably this first I made one as opposed to the ones using the template. But the other 3 I may well put on my Etsy store, I think. I'll have to finish them off to the standard that I'm pleased with and price them accordingly, probably around £25 to £30, taking into account the cost of the materials and also my time. But I think as a novelty item, regardless of whether or not they sell, regardless of whether or not they're popular, I adore this, and I really want to be able to share it with people. So even if you're just inspired to make your own, please do, you know, let me know how you go about it and what you get up to, because there's something so much fun about making this real, having this in your hand, and now being able to go out on an adventure in a dungeon and you know, fight the boss and continue on your way. It's just a thing of beauty. I suppose the question is, what should I make next? And I know in a previous live stream I talked about maybe trying to make an artifact from Fatal Labyrinth, although they're a bit generic and hard to visualize. Maybe I'll have to sort of build up to that perhaps. But one of the beautiful things about making this compass is that from the game manual initially, and then in the Art and Artifacts publication, there's some good imagery to draw on. So maybe that's the next step, is to find another well-referenced thing to make. But I particularly love, though, the fact that this isn't just pretty, it's also functional. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't recommend navigating with this. It hasn't got the full accurate, you know, 0 to 360 or 1 to 360 degrees referenced on it, but it works. It does point north, and that's really cool, having an artifact that does that. Incidentally, north is that way. So yeah, what do you think? Anything that comes to mind, I'd be more than happy to take on suggestions and ideas, because this was so much fun to do, and just joyful to have a well, as people have said, have an item that feels like it's been hand drawn come to life in your hands. Just superb. Anyway guys, hopefully this has been interesting. Thank you for watching. Until next time, do take care. Bye bye.